My name is Scott Blackford Scheele. This is the North Machine Carbon. The Grivel calls this the North Machine. The idea is that it's for north-facing slopes in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere here, it'd be ideally suited to climbing south faces, where you get a variety of terrain types. Now this is a very technical tool. They made it with a composite shaft, which is using primarily carbon, and it has a rubber handle, and it has a hot forged chromoly steel head. Grivel gave it a carbon fiber shaft, which is actually utilizing what they call the G-bone. So this G-bone shaft is going to have a cross-section which looks a bit like a dog's bone if you were to look at it from afar. And what that actually does is it gives it a very good grip. And when you're holding the ice axe, you can either hold it by the grip at the bottom of the shaft, or you can hold it in the very center. And this actually keeps your hand away from the snow and the cold surfaces when you're climbing. Because when you're climbing on a north face or an icy slope, it's not always going to be swinging into really good plastic ice. Instead, you might be grabbing it in all manner of positions in order to get yourself up there. The carbon shaft that Grivel uses is actually quite remarkable for how warm it is. And that might sound a bit funny, but when you're climbing with an ice tool that has an aluminium alloy, then that is actually going to be quite cold even when wearing a pair of gloves. And it's remarkable how warm this is, and I can speak from experience. Even with a warm pair of gloves, when climbing in the cold, this is significantly warmer and makes the climb a lot more pleasant. The shaft is going to have a handle at the bottom, which is slightly curved away, which is going to get yourself away from the slope that you're climbing. It's also going to have a smaller pinky rest that's quite important to use when you're climbing leashless. And it's also going to be small enough that it's not going to impede you too much when you're actually plunging the shaft into a surface of snow and ice. At the very tip, we've got a carbide tip, which is much the same as something you get at the bottom of a trekking pole. And as you know, a trekking pole can go onto just about anything, and this will get good grip on either rock, ice, or snow. Grivel makes the North Machine in a few different versions. You can buy it in the shovel, which is going to make it good for clearing away snow and a little bit of rotten ice. You can buy it in the hammer, which is going to be suited for pounding in pitons or also driving in snow stakes. And this has a very usable hammer. It's a good size. The final version that it comes in is going to be in a pick which lacks both the shovel and the hammer. Now this actually brings the weight from 550 grams down to 450 grams. This, as you can see, it's a bit beaten up, is my own set of North Machines, and this is what I climb with on both of my ice tools. All of the picks that you can buy for the machine tools are going to be T-rated. They're all hot forged, and they're also going to have a very subtle difference between the ice blade and the mix blade. The ice blade is in front, and the mix blade is actually behind. The difference between the two blades is not only going to be the angle that they're at, the more severe angle, down angle on the mix blade, but it's also going to be the width of the material at the tip. The ice blade is going to taper to 3 millimeters wide, the mix blade is going to taper to 4.2 millimeters wide. There's not much of a weight difference, but there is going to be a practical difference because the narrower ice blade is going to be more easily placed into ice and also removed. The mix blade is going to be ideally suited to giving it a very hard time on rock. The mounts at the back of the picks are going to accommodate either the hammer or the shovel.